Okay, let's talk about how to be more self-disciplined without any hustle or pressure. So be honest, have you ever promised yourself that you'd be more disciplined, you'd wake up early, you'd stick to your routines, you'd follow your plan, and a few days later it all just slips through your fingers again. Like you want to be consistent, you want to follow through, you want to be the sort of person who does what says she'll do, but forcing discipline just feels so exhausting and very unnatural and short-lived. Like you can do it for just a moment, but not sustainably. If this feels true for you, you are not alone and there's nothing wrong with you. You're probably just been taught a version of discipline that relies on pressure and force and shame or perfection, and your body and mind rejects it because it doesn't feel safe or kind. And of course, you resist it. Discipline, like the way that the world teaches us to do it, often feels like self punishment, not self leadership. And so, before we go any deeper, I just want you to breathe this in. The fact that you've struggled with discipline to date, like so far, if that's true, does not mean you're lazy or uncommitted or weak. It just means that you've been or haven't been shown a version of discipline that honors your nervous system, your season of life, and your humanity, the fact that you have a human brain. So, I want to share something that you may or may not agree with, but discipline isn't hard when it is aligned. Okay, it only feels hard when you're forcing yourself to do something or live a life that isn't set up to support you. And what most people were taught, about discipline, is that, through one of three models, like the willpower model, just try harder, push through, no excuses. But willpower is a short term resource and it burns out very quickly. I don't recommend that. The perfection model is another one, do it perfectly or don't bother. And this creates those all or nothing cycles, the stopping and starting constantly, which I also don't recommend. And then we've got the shame model. What a lovely one. Not. Like if you just bully yourself enough, you can finally change. But shame never, ever, ever creates lasting transformation. All it does is create fear. And so what these old, models that we've been taught, to learn discipline via, that all they do is activate your threat response in your nervous system, not the growth response. And so guess what? Your brain does not change and doesn't want to change after an attack, especially when it's under attack. The way that we actually change is through safety, repetition, compassion, and having these identity shifts that come from doing the stuff with safety, repetition, and compassion. So, true discipline is not at all about force, it's about self trust. You don't need more toughness. What you need is more inner agreement where your mind and your body feel like they're on the same team. And so, what compassionate discipline, really looks like, what I'm speaking about here, isn't anything to do with soft, passive, letting yourself off the hook. It's not about avoiding discomfort or choosing the easy path. It's not. Compassion discipline is all about holding yourself to a standard that honors you and your goals and your humanity. When I say humanity and your human brain, it's all about showing up for what matters, not through force or fear, but through self respect, clarity, and intention because it means something to you. It's a discipline that supports your well being rather than bulldozing right over it. So, what this looks like is that you keep the promises that you make to yourself in a way that's doable, aligned, and kind. Doable, aligned, and kind. And you're allowed to rest without guilt because you know that rest protects your capacity, it doesn't weaken it. You get to take small, consistent steps instead of swinging between extremes. You get to lead yourself with encouragement rather than criticism. So, with compassionate discipline, you're not, you stop abandoning yourself. And that is the thing that makes your process progress sustainable. Is this resonating with you? So, just to share with you some little mindset shifts that are going to help you become someone who can be more disciplined with ease. The first is understand that discipline is an act of self respect. It's not self punishment. It's not about controlling yourself. It's about caring for your future self, caring for your goals, caring for the things that set your heart on fire. The next is you don't have to feel motivated to act. I could talk for hours about this. All you need to do is begin gently. Action creates motivation, okay, not the other way around. All those cool feelings that you're waiting for happen once you've taken action, even if you don't feel like it. The next is understanding that you can be both kind to yourself and committed to your growth. Compassion is not the opposite of discipline. It's a thing that fuels discipline. Okay? Compassion fuels discipline. The other thing is understanding that small, boring consistency will beat intense bursts every single time. I always talk about the fact that a tiny 5-minute daily action will compound and can compound into a completely different life if you just do it consistently. You also have to understand that you don't have to earn rest. Rest is a part of discipline. Rest is a thing that supports sustainability. Exhaustion destroys it. Another thing to consider, if it requires you to abandon yourself, it is not discipline, it's self-betrayal. True discipline honors you and your limits and aligns with your values. And you get to allow your identity to lead your habits, not the other way around. So to become the sort of person who sees herself as disciplined, okay, you got to become that person first, and then the behavior will follow. Like, I'm willing to be disciplined. Okay, it's got those negative connotations, but let's just attach some positive ones. It gets you your goals. As long as you understand that starting again isn't failure, it's resilience. Consistency's never been about like never falling or never failing. It's like a lie that we've been taught. Consistency is about returning back after you fail, returning back after you face that obstacle. And so just to offer you like a simple pressure-free framework that's going to help, discipline last in your life. I love the safe discipline method. Okay, start small, so small that it feels safe. So you shrink the habit until it feels almost too easy. And if your brain resists it, it means it's too big. Okay, it's like putting the shoes next to the front door. You can do that. Success is a thing that builds self-trust, and self-trust grows with discipline. The next is, once you've started very small in a way that feels safe, is you attach it to something you already do. So habit stacking, which I absolutely love, removes decision fatigue. It's like, well, after I make my morning coffee, I write for 5 minutes. When I brush my teeth, I repeat some, affirmations that will help or set my intention for the day. Something really simple. The next is focus on your identity, on who you are becoming, not the outcome. I can't preach about this enough. The fact that the goal will always be like the riches come from who you become through the process. So instead of saying, well, I have to meditate every day. I have to do this. It's like, no, I'm someone that cares for her mind every day, like or daily. I'm becoming the sort of person who does that. Identity creates alignment. I'm becoming the sort of person who trusts herself more. I'm becoming the sort of person who is willing to spend 5 minutes on her goals. And so once you focus on your identity, the next thing is to encourage yourself not to police yourself. So when you miss a day, you don't attack yourself. Instead, you say, okay, what would it make it easier for me to come back to this tomorrow? Encouragement is the thing that keeps you in the game. Self-criticism knocks you off the field. Okay, and we want you to be in the game. And so your little mini challenge this week is choose one area that you would like to build gentle discipline in. Not 5 areas, not 3, just one. Whether it's like with your exercise or your movement or your water or your bedtime or screen time or creativity, business, anything. And set a goal that feels so small that it's almost like you could laugh at it. It's like, my gosh, 2 minutes of stretching after I brush my teeth, 1 push up, 2 pushes, like whatever seems like so crazy, and do it daily. Not to prove anything, but just the work here is building your self-trust, because your brain needs evidence that you keep the promises that you make, especially the small ones. You just are becoming a person who just says what she said. You'll do what you say you'll do. And if this has resonated with you and you want more support taking action without pressure or burnout or perfectionism, I've created a free guide called 5 Thought Shifts that will help you get out of your own head and into alignment action, or get out of your own way. Even if discipline has always felt hard for you, you're going to find the link in the description. I promise you it will help. It will help you build that self-trust, consistency, and follow through. Okay, I've got you. So tell me below in the comments what's one tiny disciplined act that your future self will thank you for if you just take it this week. Because you do not need any pressure to be disciplined. I promise you, it backfires. It doesn't work. What you need is a partnership with yourself, a very gentle, soft, compassionate relationship with yourself. And you just take one small, self-honoring choice at a time. Okay, and that's how you get there in the end. Take care. I can't wait to catch you in the next video.